You told me I was nothing. Nothing but a faggot. Nothing but a scrounger. A bum. A druggie. A shirking shirt lifter. Nothing but a nothing. You worked hard for your money. The world owes you everything. The world owes me nothing. I wasn't ill, I went clubbing. I wasn't ill, I went to the shops. I wasn't ill, I tried to slice my veins, to cut out my stomach, to shut down my organs. I wasn't ill, I didn't cry. I didn't bleed. I didn't grovel on my hands and knees and beg your forgiveness. Instead, I continued to rot. I spread the rot inside. I rot everything I touch. Rot, rot, rot. Decrepit, dilapidated, demolished. I make everything bleak. Bleak on bleak on bleak. I wasn't ill, I didn't push myself over, make myself fall for you, face first into the ground. I should press my head against the flint and grin like a maniac. Urge my blood to mix with the mould growing on my broken heart, not my broken mind. I should break it further, if only to wake it from its medicated slumber. I am the lost piece to my own puzzle, blinded by its effervescence, gazing into the dark side of the moon, reflecting on my taxonomy. In the middle of the blur that I created, I dipped my cigarettes in bleach and smoked them until the red embers burnt my fingertips. I threw myself around my eastern hamlet, parading my nocturnal dalliances around the smog-stained streets. I crushed up the glass and made myself snort it, hand the shot glass through a barrel, down, down, down it fresher, past the buck, don't give a fuck. I am Midas's antithesis, his blackened antichrist. I am the drop she hates so much. I am that bitter chalky taste that lingers on. You couldn't save me. You shouldn't save me. I am nothing. Alienated. Polarized.
I'm not sure necessarily it completely hits sort of as you wake up, but then maybe there'll be something that will, trigger it, or you'll read something, and like this, I don't know, it can almost like, it's almost like, I don't know, being punched in the gut or something, when it hits. So it's running out of words to describe it.
And I don't think people quite realised the severity of it at the time. But I was in a pretty bad way. I was not really sleeping and having sort of panic attacks when I had to go to meetings. And I went to the doctors and I got medication. I got diazepam.
This is the thing, like anxiety is, it grabs you. It's relentless.
So I was just more an observer and a kind of a witness to life rather than a participant.
Yeah, you become completely useless functioning in everyday life. As a result of it, it just switches you off. It switches who you are off.
When they're at their lowest, they're not sad, they're just expressionless. There's nothing there.
The thing about medication like diazepam, like anti-anxiety medication, it numbs you. It kind of puts this grey tint on who you really are. And while it was nice to not be having panic attacks and not be constantly anxious, it was hard to at any point be myself.
Borderline personality disorder means, the basic of it means that you experience emotions a lot more strongly than anyone else. And sort of the easiest way to kind of, for me to describe it is, a normal person, their reactions go from 0 to 5. Someone with borderline personality starts at 5 and goes up to 10. So it's the treatment for it is all just to bring that down, so you kind of work within the sort of levels that everyone else is meant to. But it's also deals with feeling abandoned. There's impulse in there. It's sort of it's quite a general disorder.
I think growing up queer or genderqueer means that there are some increased risks to mental health, purely from the fact that you're having to battle against quite a established model of what it means to be human, that's informed by cis identities, heterosexual identities, and very heteronormative identities. So most of our interactions as children and as teenagers and growing up in the world are informed by a predominantly heterosexual identity that doesn't acknowledge trans identities.
They don't really get it. They don't really get that all these things are linked. You know, my disability is linked to me being homophobically bullied when I'm 13. You know, my queer identity is as much linked to my racial identity. Being a femme in a queer environment or community is just as political and it's just as impactful because of the violence of masculinity in queer spaces that affects, you know, my experience. So all of these things are definitely connected and can never be separated.
Yeah, I stopped cutting myself, but I guess the self-harm just switched, and yeah, I stopped eating. And I never lost a dramatic amount of weight or anything. I guess I was maintaining myself slightly thinner than I would naturally have been, but I was on weekdays I wasn't eating. I was leaving the house before breakfast, sort of getting up so late that I could use the excuse that there wasn't time or something, and then I was not eating lunch either.
Experiences of discrimination or oppression are so like every day for many of us, and we begin to work sort of accept them. So to try and identify one in particular can often be quite hard. But I suppose I can say holistically that I've definitely had sort of experiences where I've been out, say at a club night, maybe when I was at uni, and I'd go out with my rugby team to a predominantly straight like club night with like a gay partner, and we would, you know, receive quite a lot of homophobic comments, either that or a lot of kind of over-sexualised, like people kind of coming on to us or people approaching us in fairly non-consensual ways, or explicitly non-consensual ways many of the times. And that would just like get me really angry and make me feel really pissed off that I couldn't just enjoy my night compared to other people.
having a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, I would say automatically you would have to say that this is my subjective experience of life, whether it be confirmed by other people or not. Whatever outlandish things you understand to be going on in your head, that is your subjective experience. And the one mistake that I made was assuming that I had to get well, when in fact I just needed to be better at being myself.
It became sort of vital or imperative, like almost to my survival, to kind of like excavate what this was happening. There's kind of this rage that just wouldn't stop erupting.
You told us we become too big for the rooms we inhabit. Do we bask in the infinite space of our minds? We ricochet around the urban confines of our city, a city that can't contain us. We wonder why the endless sprawl is eaten up, consumed by our thoughts, feelings and fears. You tell us it's our citalopram cynicism, revolving around, above our heads, perpetually in motion, gathering pace, faster, 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 until the blur becomes a reality. Disordered, alienated, polarised reality. Sirens wail, wail, wail as the bells of Bow Church chime in the next day. We stand stock still as the lights stream past. Bang, 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 bang. Colour, taste, smell, feel, hear, here, now, everywhere. Waiting for the 254, waiting for the 205, waiting for the 25. Stratford, Ilford, Holborn, Hackney, Whitechapel, Whitehall, Mile End, Millwall. The city expands beyond its sensory limits while we jostle for control. For dominance of the conversation. Sadness trumps happiness. Depression trumps sadness. Panic trumps depression. Suicide trumps panic. You promised us freedom. Freedom from rage. Freedom from raging. Freedom from raging against the machine. Freedom from raging against the dying of the light. Freedom from the lexical pulp of our outrage. Replace the red benches, replace the green benches, replace the memorial benches, replace the cog in the machine that's gone awry. Make us sleep, keep us awake, make us happy, stabilize us. Instead we still rage. Rage, rage, rage against rage itself. We used to beat our faces and riot against you. You beat it out of us. Our pride went the same way as our self-worth. Down, 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 through the thin floors of our dilapidated flats, perching along a road less travelled. That road has been conquered, its white lane markings snorted up, wiped clean by a need to be free. How can we reclaim it when they've taken it away? They've stripped it back like our souls, alienated, polarised.
The cuts have had a huge impact on, I think, everybody, particularly because in mental health we're not, a very fashionable, sexy area. We've not got lots of cute babies or fluffy donkeys or anything that people actually want to give money to. People are quite scared of mental health and those areas. So usually what happens is the cuts tend to start having an impact on mental health services first before anything else.
It's widely known that there's a higher incidence of a lot of mental health problems among the queer community. And I think that's understandable because of a lot of the circumstances in which queer people grow up. either being bullied at school or feeling very isolated, not having very good role models, falling out with their parents, feeling like they have to hide their identity. In more extreme cases, being kicked out of home, beaten up.
And particularly at the moment with, you know, the kind of media and this kind of idea that people are sponging or kind of taking benefits in a way, just you know, abusing the system. That's definitely not the case. Again, after all these years working in mental health, and it does worry me, some of these ideas, because it does have an impact on people's well-being, and if they're not well and then they're being told that they're skiving and sponging off society, then it's really detrimental to their mental health. And I found that quite a lot of the cases, and people feel quite suicidal and feel like they want to self-harm because they feel they're not contributing.
It's really hard to explain, because it's when you say it's nothing, it really is nothing. And I would literally, the minute I woke up, if I managed to get sleep, the minute I woke up, I would be thinking, am I going to, you know, do this? And I even went on websites to see which was the most painless way of suicide.
Does it get easier? No, it gets harder, but it gets harder in a different way. There's that immediate kind of like, oh my god, I tried to kill myself, and that's horrific. And I like sitting back as a kid, had I have thought then, or you know, in 15 years' time, you're going to try and top yourself. Just like, what the fuck? But does it get easier? No, because I always, as I said, I know it's in there. I know I have the potential to do it. I know now how to do it. I think which is probably the scariest thing, like having attempted it so many times and failed so miserably at it. I know now what I have to do, and knowing that I know that is terrifying, and it makes it very difficult. As soon as I feel down, as soon as I feel those thoughts coming into my head, you know, those kind of like, you're not worthy, you know, do yourself a favour, do everyone else a favour, end it. It's too hard. It's just too hard, end it. I know that if I let those thoughts develop, I could easily go and do it, and that's terrifying. That's a really, really scary thought to have.
I think if I'd had the support from my friends, it wouldn't have been so lonely, because finding out you've got quite severe disorders, which at that time they told me some of them would be untreatable because they were so ingrained. Losing all your friends, as well as your world, kind of knocks you down to zero, and sort of you have no one you can go to talk to. You have no one who wants to listen. So everything you do is off your own back, but you don't have the belief in yourself because apparently you're in this false world. So for me, I had no direction, so I had nothing. And it was sort of, the case was then to have to build up the new friendship groups, as well as building back your life.
Usually a lot of particularly LGBTQ young people that I see have been disowned by their families and kicked out of where they live, and not have any kind of social support around them, and not have any kind of family support. So feeling isolated and not having access to people to talk to can lead to feelings of despair and distress.
Try to make us bow down, to swear allegiance to you. I am your Mecca, you say, you just don't know it yet. You promised us sleep, to keep us awake, to make us happy, to stabilize us, to set us free. You didn't set us free, you broke us out. Out of the frying pan into the fire, we sear our solipsistic existences. We are not alone, we are as one, fists in the air, crying out. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 5, 6, 7, 8, you are the terror state. Try to privatize our broken legs, to privatize our ruptured spleens, privatize our failing lungs and our wasting muscles. Why don't you pin us down and rape us again? Bruise our thighs, jar our bones, shake the dust from our eyelids, thrust deeper and deeper inside of us, searching for the subservience you'll never find. Slice, slice, slice and tear at the brittle shell encasing our Chernobyl. Try to make us rip until the blood flows from our crusted veins. Make our limbs shake, shake, shake with tension. Make our sinews, already stretched to capacity, suck it back up. Why not try to politicize us, aggravate us, hurt us, tear us, rip us, break us, keep us, discard us, disenfranchise us, steal from us, set us up and pull us right back down, drug us, isolate us, try to corrode our souls with your eaten mess, try to alienate us, try to polarize us. We can't all be faggots or con men or scroungers. We can't all be druggies or hookers or thieves. We can't all be